Your question is, which of the following is not the objective of the directive principles of state policy? Your options are A. To establish a welfare state, B. To ensure socio-economic welfare, C. To promote international peace and security, or D. To establish a religious state. Right answer is D. To establish a religious state. Your question is, which part of Constitution of India describes the model of welfare state? Your options are A. Fundamental rights, B. Fundamental duties, C. The preamble, or D. Directive principles of state policy. Right answer is D. Directive principles of state policy. Your question is, consider the following statements regarding the directive principles of state policy. 1. These principles spell out the socio-economic democracy in the country. 2. The provisions contained in these principles are not enforceable by any court. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? Your options are A. 1 only, B. 2 only, C. Both 1 and 2, or D. Neither 1 nor 2. Right answer is C. Both 1 and 2. These principles spell out the socio-economic democracy in the country, and the provisions contained in these principles are not enforceable by any court. Your question is, the directive principles of state policy may be classified into which of the following parts for the sake of convenient study? Your options are A. Socialist, B. Liberal intellectualistic, C. Gandhian, or D. All of the above. Right answer is D. All of the above. Socialist, liberal intellectualistic, or C. Gandhian. Your question is, with reference to the provisions contained in Part 4 of the Constitution of India, which of the following statements is or are correct? 1. They shall be enforceable by courts. 2. They shall not be enforceable by any court. 3. The principles laid down in this part are to influence the making of law by the state. Select the correct answer using the code given below. Your options are A. 1 only, B. 2 only, C. 1 and 3 only, or D. 2 and 3 only. Right answer is D. 2 and 3 only. They shall not be enforceable by any court, and the principles laid down in this part are to influence the making of law by the state. Your question is, the purpose of the inclusion of directive principles of state policy in the Indian Constitution is to establish. Your options are A. Political democracy, B. Social democracy, C. Gandhian democracy, or D. Social and economic democracy. Right answer is D. Social and economic democracy. Your question is, the idea of India as welfare state is found in. Your options are A. Preamble of the Constitution, B. Fundamental duties, C. Directive principles of state policy, or D. Both A and C. Right answer is D. Both A and C. Preamble of the Constitution and Directive principles of state policy. Your question is, which part of the Constitution of India declares the ideal of welfare state? Your options are A. Directive principles of state policy, B. Fundamental rights, C. Preamble, or D. 7th schedule. Right answer is A. Directive principles of state policy. Your question is, which one of the following is not the objective of the directive principles of state policy? Your options are A. To establish a welfare state, B. To ensure socio-economic justice, C. To establish a religious state, or D. To establish a secular state. Right answer is C. To establish a religious state. Your question is, the concept of included in the Constitution of India in the. Your options are A. Directive principles of state policy, B. 4th schedule of the Constitution, C. Fundamental rights, or D. Preamble of the Constitution. Right answer is A. Directive principles of state policy.